Let's take a look at an example of a programming exercise using variables. There are different types of variables, and in this case, we're going to, well, let's see what the instructions say. Write a C# program named inches to centimeters. Okay, they already have it named for us. So this is our program called a class, and it's called inches to centimeters. Now this class begins here and ends down here. So inside of our class, you'll see something called a method. It's got these two little parens on the end of the main method here. So so this is our program. We have one method inside. That's the main method. Later on, we're going to have more than one method, but for now, inside of our class, we just have this one main method. And this main method is where our coding is going to start. And so the exercise says, it declares a named constant. Okay, so we're going to declare a const, and we're going to name it. But first we have to determine what data type we're going to use. Well, this number, 2.54, is the number of centimeters to an inch, and that's fixed. There are not 5.6 centimeters to an inch. There are not 10.9. There are 2.54. So that's fixed. So 2.54, the data type I'm going to use. I could use a float, but what is normally used in this case is going to be a double data type. So I'm going to use double, and I'm going to give it a name. And since I use const, normally my variable names will be in lowercase, but since I used const, I'm going to make this capital letters and call this variable centimeters. Okay, and all on the same line. Since it's never going to change in our program, I'm going to go ahead and put in the value right here. Okay, now I'm going to take the cap locks off, and let's see what the next part is. Also declare a variable to represent a measurement in inches. So, okay, inches, I'm already working with double data type or floating point numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and make this data type a double data type. And I can make up any legal name that I want to. So I'm going to call it inches. And if I wanted to, I could go ahead and assign a value to it, but I'll do it on the next line just to show you that we can put them on two lines or on the same line. Put spaces on each side of the assignment character, and I'm going to assign some value. And in their example, they assign the value of 3. Well, since this is a double data type, I'm going to say not just 3, but I'm going to say 3.0. Now, if I put just 3 in here, it would automatically change it to 3.0 because it's a double data type. And you're only allowed to store double data types in the memory location called inches. So I can either have the computer do it, but a little better if you control things and see how it looks. So I'm going to put in 3.0 there. And now I'm going to test my program and see if it runs okay. So when I run this, so far I have an error message in there. Okay. Oh, it says the constant centimeters is never used. Okay. Well, let's use it. So in my next statement, what I'm going to do is a right line statement. Now, did I turn my caps off? Yes, I did. Now, the author puts this statement in here, using static system.console. What that means is that we're just going to assume that we're using system.console in all of our program, and so therefore we don't have to type it out each time. Without that statement, here's what I would put. I would put system.console dot write line, and then whatever I would have in my write line statement. Okay. And for example, if inches is set to 3, which it is right here, the output should be 3 inches is 7.62 centimeters. Okay. How about if I just copy this? And I'm going to put it inside of my write line statement. Now, since it's a literal text, I need to put it inside of double quotes. Okay, so I have exactly the output they want, but I don't want this to be just a literal statement here. I want to replace this with whatever's stored in inches. And I want to replace this with this number times this number. So let's do that. And as you're going along, what you should probably do is test these in Visual Studio. It's good practice, and we can see how powerful our IDE is, or Visual Studio, Integrated Development Environment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, well, let me copy this first. I'm going to copy this, Control C, and then I'm going to go to Visual Studio, and I'm going to make a new project. File, New, Project. Now my project is going to be Visual C#, because on my installation I've got a lot of choices on what type of program I can create. So it's going to be Visual C#, and over here I want a console application. Now I can use .NET Core or .NET Framework. The .NET Core is kind of a limited version. It normally has everything we want, but .NET Framework has everything that I may want. Well, for now, I can really use either one of these. So I'm going to go with .NET Framework. I need to give this a new name, and the author has you name these projects and solutions differently, but I'm going to give it just a testing name. So I'm going to say Unit 2 underscore, this one is 2.2, I think. Okay, so it gives my project name and my solution name the same. I could change those and make those different, but we're just working with one project right now, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that the same. Okay, that's all. So I'm going to click OK on that, and it's going to take off and build a little bit of code for me. Okay, so I'm going to change this a bit. And make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Now, I can use that statement that the author has, or I can leave it out. I'm just going to use the system, using system. Now, when I do that, I no longer have to type system.console.writeLine. You notice that the system is grayed out. That's because it's up here already, so I don't need to type that each time. But I do need to type console as opposed to what you have in your book. Okay, so I'm going to copy over what I had in my MindTap editor. Okay, so that copied over. And again, I don't need system in there if I don't want to. It's grayed out. How about if I put that statement in there that the author had? Using static system.console. Okay, so when I do that, now console is grayed out, so I don't have to put that one in there either. Okay, I can just say write line. Now, I don't want this to be hard-coded in there. What I want to do is that I want to take this and replace it with inches. And here's how I do that. I'm going to put a comma after my ending double quote, and I'm going to put in inches is a memory is the name of a memory location that right now has the value 3. There it is. Has the value 3.0 stored in there. So I can go here and get rid of that and replace it with curly braces. And since this is the first variable I'm using, computers start counting at 0. So this is the very first one. I know that's a little confusing, but 0 is the very first one. So this is the first variable right here. Okay, so in essence, when this runs, it's going to say 3.0 inches is 7.62 centimeters. So debug, start without debugging. Let's see if it works so far. And what this is going to do, okay. It's going to take a bit to build. Let's wait. And it did what I told it to do, which is 3 inches is 7.62 centimeters. Pressing any key to continue. Okay, so it brought up the console window and it wrote this line out to the console window. Only it replaced that hard-coded 3 with whatever was stored in the variable called inches. Okay, so I'm going to close my console window, go back to this. If I expand this, I hope I don't lose anything on the screen. Okay, let's collapse that back down. And okay, so 3 inches is, and I don't want this to be hard-coded in there, so what I'm going to do is replace this, and since 0 is the first one, 1 is going to be the next variable. So I'm going to come after the inches, and I'm going to get the result, I need to multiply the number of centimeters times the number of inches. So just to be safe, I'm going to put this in parentheses, just to be safe. And so centimeters, if I start typing, there it is, centimeters, and multiply, so asterisk, and then inches. Where's that at? Inches. Okay. So this whole thing is it's going to first multiply these two together, and then it's going to take the result and replace this one. So this is really 2 variables. This one and this whole thing, this calculation right here, is going to be the second one. So this first one and then this second one. Okay, let's try it and see what it looks like. Debug, start debugging. I should have done debugging without debugging. Okay, let's wait. Flashes on the screen and runs through the program, and it disappears. Okay, so I need to do debug without start without debugging. There we go. Okay, so when I do that, it gives me the result that I wanted. 3 inches is 7.62 centimeters. And press any key to continue, and that will close the program out. Okay, so it looks like that's everything I need. So I'm going to just copy the code from this main method I've got here. Control C, go back to, will it let me go back? It's going to make me wait a bit. Okay, go back here, and can I make sure I've got this selected, and then can I paste this in? Okay, it wraps around, but looks like it worked. Let me run this and see if this works. And looks like it worked okay. Let's go ahead and go and test it to see if it does both these things. I'm going to run my checks on this program and see, and it says 100%. So that looks okay. Okay. I'm going to leave that one right there for now.